Yeah, habari zenyu? Yeah, nimefurahi sana kuja hapa Transnational Times Sacco in your 33rd Annual General Meeting. And actually I was asked to make some small presentation on how we can make our Sacco better. And I prepared something for you. As you've heard, my name is Dr. Moses Ochieng Gweyi. I am from the Cooperative University of Kenya, and I bring greetings from our Vice Chancellor there, Professor Kamau. Nazipokea? Yeah. So to the Chairman, Transnational Times Sacco, Mr. Evans Changi, the board members present, we have the CEO, George Malava, the delegates who are here, the invited guests, fellow cooperators, ladies and gentlemen. I want to make a small presentation on, as you've heard, my name is Moses. Moses are letter nani 10 commandments, ndio? So me, I bring for you the 10 commandments of personal finance. The 10 commandments of personal finance. And I can see majority of us have a pen and paper. So if you get any point, kindly take it up. So I just want to start by saying that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn and relearn. So all of us know how to read and write. That's why you have a pen and paper. But in this 21st century, we are going to be illiterate if you cannot do those three things: learning, unlearning, and relearning. So which one is the most difficult one to do? Is it learning, unlearning, or relearning? Yes? Learning, unlearning, or relearning? Unlearning. Sindio? Yeah. So most of the time, because all of us are teachers here, when you go to class, you normally teach your students or pupils. When you teach them new things, that is learning. And learning is when you bring now a totally new concept, things that maybe they didn't know about, or things which are not familiar with them. Then to relearn is to repeat. So some of those things I'm going to be telling you here, they are basically repetition. So these are the 10 commandments of personal finance. And these are the key lessons we get from the pandemic. The pandemic has just been with us, that is COVID, and all these lessons we can basically derive from that. So the first commandment is save before you spend. That is the first commandment of personal finance. Now, majority of us, we like saving, or we like spending, then we save. We are saying that for the purposes of you to grow in your circle, you need to save before you spend. And this is basically something that you need to learn. And majority of us, when you learn this particular skill, you're going to build on your savings in the cooperative. Now, how much should you save? There is someone who wrote something here. He said that you're supposed to save at least how much? 20% of your income should go towards savings. Then 50%, 30%, 50% should go to your needs. Then 30% should go to your wants. So we call it the 50-30-20 rule. That is the first rule. 50-30-20 rule. So you save 20% of that, you spend 50% of that on your needs, then 30% goes towards your wants. So that is the rule number one. Rule number two is you are supposed to choose saving in a circle instead of saving in a bank. Now, why should you save in a circle? You are saving in a circle because, number one, you are going to be receiving dividends. So as you take your loans from the circle, you're also still saving. So when you do that, at the end of the day, like for example, this is the Annual Delegates Meeting. I know one of your resolutions are going to be approving interest on dividend, interest on deposit, and also dividend. So this is good because when you save in a circle, that is one of the advantage. You basically receive dividend at the end of the day. Then, as you do that, remember to sometimes plow back. You see, when you are supposed to receive dividend, you normally find members withdrawing everything. So instead of you taking all that amount, it is better for you to apply the 50-30 rule. At least out of this interest on deposit and dividend, at least make it a point that you at least save some of it to the SACCO. And that can be a source of finance for the SACCO, because sometimes you may find the SACCOs having liquidity issues. So because of that, if you do that, if you plow back some of your dividends and some of your interest on deposits, you'll find that your SACCO will not go for external borrowing. That will be an internal source of finance. Then the third rule, or the third commandment, is about having an emergency fund. How many of us have an emergency fund? By show fund? Kuna mtu akona emergency fund. Kitu kitokea saa hii, unaweza survive aje? So it is important for us to have an emergency fund. So you need to accrue some savings for surprise situations. Like for example, if you lose a job, what will happen? It is important for you to have an emergency fund. And it is basically recommended that your emergency funds is supposed to be in the range of 3 to 6 month family expense. So just think about your family expense. How much is it? So whatever you place in your emergency fund should be between 3 to 6%. We normally call it the contingency fund. Now rule number 4. So number 4. You significantly tame your bills. So basically you normally find sometimes you have so many things that are with us. We need to avoid some of this. And how do you tame your bills? You need to ensure that when you go to your house, for example, I don't know how many of us are living in their own houses. Sometimes it is important for you to have your own house. And if you don't have money to do this, the SACCO can actually afford you this amount of money. So how do you tame your expenses? Taming your bills is important because it helps you have some disposable income at the end of the day. Then I don't know whether the SACCO has this. That is the 5th commandment, is on having a life insurance. So when you only have one single income and you are the breadwinner of your house, and if God forbid you die, you normally find that your family normally has some challenges. So it is important for you to have some life cover. And I know in your SACCO, in case somebody dies, you normally get there's normally what you call the burial benevolent fund. Sindio? How much are you normally given when somebody dies? 50,000. 50,000, yeah. And then do you give any deposits, multiplier for the deposit? How much? Times 2. Times 2. So you can see now when you save a lot, for example, you have 1 million shillings. God forbid if you die, you know that people who are depending on you still. So it is important for you to have savings so that in case you die, your family are not going to suffer. The rule number 6, Indio? Number 5. Number 6. You're following. So this is important. You need to create some extra income for you. Don't depend on only one income. Actually, we normally say, think of your income as a table. And if a table has only one leg to support it, if that one leg breaks, what happens? Like for example, this stand that I am in, if anything were to happen to this stand, what will happen? It will fall. Sindio? The same thing happens to you. You need to have multiple sources of income. And Robert Kiyosaki says that it is more important to grow your income than cut your expenses. So you need, the key thing here we are saying, you need to have more than one source of income. Don't only depend on your salary. Your salary is only one source of income. Think of something. If you have, if we can actually organize for you a training of where we take you through how do you generate your business ideas until you have that particular business that you need. So key thing you're saying, think of your income as a table. So the commandment here is create extra income for yourself. Then to go commandment number 7. Number 7 is this: utilize your energy levels. Utilize your energy levels. So between the ages of 0 to 25 years, we are normally non-producers, but also consumers. So we are normally taken care by your parents. Like you guys, your parents, you take care of your son until maybe they're 25 years. Now between 25 to 60 years, where majority of us are in, we are producers, right? So we normally have the earning power. So during this particular time, this is our prime time of earning. And we need to ensure that we do a lot. And some of us, instead of earning, we normally say this is our time to eat. We call it the prime eating time. So during this particular time, between 25 to 60 years, ensure that you earn as much, because you are teachers. What is the retirement age of a teacher? It's in 60 years. So between 60 to 100, majority of us now become non-producers. We don't have that extra energy to work. So during that particular time, when you don't have that extra energy to work, whatever will save you is what you have saved in your circle. So saving for retirement is important. So as we do all these things, don't say that I'm too young to save or I'm too old to save. That particular age is important, because what is the mortality? Is it mortality rate? What is the age? What wanakufaga kama uko miaka ngapi in Kenya? Is it 60 or 40 something? Yeah? 40. How many 60? So whatever it is, we're recommending to you that you need to ensure that you save for your retirement, because don't depend on your kids. Your kids have their own life. Majority of us normally say that mimi acha nifunze watoto wakishasoma watakuja wanisaidie. Ukikosa kusaidia utafanya nini? Stop. Utawalani. So usiwalani. So start planning for your life now. Now, to go commandment number 8. Manage your debts. Manage your debts. So don't keep borrowing without a plan. Now, majority of us normally go for loans and they don't have a plan. Anaenda kuja kwa sako anachukua loan kama 200,000. Hii pesa amechukua ajui kazi yake ni gani. So anytime you borrow, you need to have a plan. And because of this, majority of us find ourselves being overcommitted. When you check our payslip yako hata haizi accommodate anything. So why is this? So when your payslip is overcommitted, it brings the problem of loan default. Sindio? Now, do you want, when you take loans, most of the time, some of us take loans to default. So don't do that, because now when you're taking a loan, there are guarantors who are guaranteeing you. Sindio? Okay, default your loan. So now kosea. So let us not overcommit ourselves with loans. We need to borrow with a plan, not without a plan. Then we go to commandment number 9. This is important now to us here, whether we are male or female. We need to be open about our earnings. We need to be open about our earnings. Now, you'll find some of us, when we get employed, we normally fill some form. Inaitwa nominee form. Unajua? Do you normally check that form? Maybe uliandika kuko 20 years. Hiyo time uko umeoa, si ndio? Ukaandika mama yako. Then over time now, maybe when you're 30 years, you go get a wife. So your wife is supposed to be a dependent. Now, what if you don't change your dependent? You normally bring a lot of frictions. So this is important for us to know that we need to be open about our earnings to our spouses. We need to be open about this to our spouses, because if God forbid, if you die, this money normally goes to, is it the unclaimed asset? Unclaimed asset authority. Actually, majority of the amount of money they have in that particular account imetoka kwa SACCOs. So the key thing we're recommending to you is check on what is appearing on your nominee form. And when you do that, you need to open to your spouse, whether you are a lady or you are a man. So that now, in case anything happens to you, things don't, your money doesn't go to the unclaimed asset authority. Now, when you do all these things, normally you find some family have frictions. Because mwanaume amepata loan. Hii loan bibi yake ajui kama alichukua loan, si ndio? Na huyu jamaa anachukua pesa, anaenda anatembea, anaenda kupiga starehe. Wapi unachapa starehe huku? Is it Eldoret ama hapa Kitale? Mombasa. Na bibi yake ajui maneno, si ndio? So sometimes when you're opening this to your spouse, he's able to control you. Anakwambia hii pesa tumesema tubai nao shamba pale kwanza. Hii pesa si ya starehe. So we need to open our earnings to our spouses. Then the last commandment, last, ndio. The 10th commandment is about reconsidering your school fees payment method. Now, majority of us normally like paying school fees shule kifunguliwa, si ndio? Like next week we are going to be opening our schools. Si ni kweli? Now, if you have kids and you're supposed to pay for them school fees, some of these things you can even talk to the principal because you are teachers. Instead of paying school fees, say when the term begins, you can decide to pay it on a monthly basis. And the SACCO I know can have a product where people now save money for their kids for the purposes of education, because education is the key to success. So we are saying we have kids, we need to reconsider how we pay our school fees. So having said that, those are the 10 commandments of personal finance.